Probably shouldn't do this bit, but... Good morning, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to another video.
And we love making videos about old railways.
But we love making videos about old canals.
Oh, but which one's better?
There's only one way to find out. What is that?
Toss a coin.
I got a coin.
Oh, handy.
Right, heads or tails?
Heads.
Heads. That doesn't work. They're already going to know we're doing a video. Right, tails you mean?
Tails. Tails.
So we've got to do a video about an old canal.
Oh, okay.
Come on then, let's go to the old canal.
Next time.
In the late 1700s, the height of the technology at the time, transportation technology, was canal building. And a man called Robert Whitworth was tasked with surveying the land between Poole and Bournemouth, right up towards Bristol or Bath, with the goal of connecting the English Channel with the Bristol Channel. Now this would have been a fantastic feat at the time because it would connect those two ports. So today's search is for part of that canal. We're now at Nettle Bridge, or we're near Nettle Bridge, looking for Nettle Bridge Basin, which is where the western end of a branch of this canal was built. We've got Edford Bridge, is that Edford?
Edford
Bridge, which we'll go and have a look in a minute. But what we're trying to do, as we said, is trying to find the basin. So the first part of this canal that was built was the basin. Well, I can't see, I mean, we're looking this way. There's a river down there, so it had to have been separate from the river. But we can't see anything else. There's lots of masonry sort of underfoot. Right, what you got, Rebecca?
Stood on a bit of stone.
Stone or masonry or something?
Yeah. There's quite a lot of it all along here.
Right, so we're assuming this has to be part of it, perhaps?
Yeah.
Don't know. All along there, where that trackway is here, there is a masonry wall all the way along there as far as the corner of the field up there. So we're pretty sure that Nettle Bridge Basin would have been here, and this marks a left-hand wall of it. That's fascinating. You can still see the remnants. 200 years ago this was abandoned, and you can still see the remnants of the basin that was here where the canal boats were planned to have stopped. Right, we're going to carry on that way and look for Edford Bridge, which is well, it would have been the exit for the Nettle Bridge Basin. So this was built 220 years ago, Rebecca. And it looks like it was built 220 years ago, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
They've infilled the bottom of it, presumably to help it stay up, I guess, because otherwise it would make a nice route through. But yeah, it's a beautiful little old bridge. One of the great ideas and the concept of connecting the port of Poole up to Bath and Bristol and beyond was wonderful at the time, because how else would you transport across that route now? If you had goods coming in from the south and you wanted to get them up to Bristol, you had to either choose from a horse and cart. Now you can imagine horse and cart, you can't really carry a lot in terms of the weight, or you had to go around the whole of the coast, right around the south end of Cornwall, I should imagine, and not ideal. So the concept and the idea of a canal through this section of the country was seemingly a really good economical investment. So there's lots of assumptions we're making, but you're kind of trying to pick out where the canal went, and of course hardly ever used and built as late as 230 years ago, and then all of a sudden you come across a bit like this and you think, yeah, okay, we are on the right track. So below us we've got loads of bits of masonry, a bit of old lumps of masonry down there, and you've got what looks to be on a towpath right now. You've got a nice carved bit out in front of us here, masonry on the other side. So without doubt, I'm certain this is a good intact bit of the canal that still remains today. Whitworth was a busy man. He learnt his trade from the likes of James Brindley, and subsequently he was all over the country working on different projects. He recommended a local engineer, William Bennett, from just down the road in Frome, to look at different parts of the route, and ultimately his route, William Bennett, was chosen at least for this part of the canal. my issue with this video, and already in my head I'm thinking about the edit, my issue with this video is I'm really quite excited, and I know I've got loads of little bits I want to put in, and sometimes we're kind of cautious, we don't want to put too much waffle in. Tough luck, there's going to be a lot of waffle in this video because this is really exciting. So down there again, great example, all the way along there, you can see as far as the eye can see, 100, 150 yards that way around the corner. Really good example of the canal. Right, so as we continue our walk from Ham eastwards towards Coalford, our next stop is the Coalford Aqueduct. So that's where we're heading next. Yeah, from the banks of the canal here, the towpath of the canal in Ham, we should join you up at Coalford. So we've been speaking to a guy called Andrew on email who owns property next to the aqueduct, the Hucky Duck. But we don't know which property he lives in because there's two that you could have access to, so it's a bit awkward really. We want to go and knock on someone's door, but we're not sure which. But in the meantime, have a look at this spectacular Hucky Ducky aqueduct. Right, so we just bumped it, well we haven't bumped into, we've been speaking to this lovely guy called Andrew and his wife. Andrew and his wife own this house. We've been speaking to for a little while and we plan to come and have a look at the wonderful Hucky Duck.
Correct.
Hucky Duck Aqueduct. What a beautiful structure.
Well, it was started or built around 1797.
Yep.
There was two aqueducts built, one here and another one in a village further along.
Okay.
So it's built 1797, or started then, to join up two canals.
Yep.
But apparently the saying goes they ran out of money, so it stopped and was left. The name Hucky Duck, the local historians told us, because the people here were of a low educational standard, couldn't get the voice around aqueduct, so it became Hucky Duck rather than aqueduct.
Fantastic.
Around the turn of the end of the Victorian era, it was still fairly complete with all these facing stones on the side.
Yep.
And then there come an expansion of the local village, and it was around the 1900s that a lot of the facing bricks were taken off to build locally.
Yep, makes sense, yep.
And including, if you look at our house, the ones with the lines on, some of them have been used here. This was built in the 1970s.
Oh, right. Okay, yep.
And then we've got a stream up there, there's some in there. It looks like it's been taken apart and people have just taken what they wanted.
That's like with a lot of old structures there, wasn't it? Buildings and things, and bridges, they used to take them off to build the surrounding area.
Once it was built, it's also never filled with water, it's never been used.
No, okay.
So then they just filled it out with mud, obviously been vandalised to a degree, and it's just been left. So now it's ours to look after. It's grade 2 listed. And we don't want to do things wrong. Keep down on the vegetation because the roots can affect it.
Yeah,
but
of course.
Also, my history from the railway, I was on the railway for years, smaller roots can actually bind things together.
Okay.
So you don't want to destroy the good side, but you do want to destroy the bad. The trees should come down.
Yeah.
And then when it's all done, it's not much use to us up there, to be honest. So what we was hoping to do was put in solar panels and batteries to cut down on electricity usage.
Literally on top of it.
Oh yeah,
so exactly. So it's not no
going to affect us or anyone else because it's high enough.
So Elizabeth and Andrew have been telling us a few other bits about the house and the coal wall bunker, and there's also a culvert that goes right underneath the house across the garden.
Just be careful wherever you are.
Yes, yep, indeed.
Free and slimy. What we plan to do, because this is awkward, is where the pool house is there.
Yeah.
You want to put in like a galvanised fire escape from an office block. So we just climbed up the
climbed up the hill there, we've got to be a bit careful coming back down again.
Yes.
So here we are, stood on top of the Aqueduct, built in 1797, abandoned a few years later, and Andrew's just advised us not to go too close to the edge, which clearly we're not going to do. Rebecca, what a lovely couple.
They're absolutely lovely.
Right, I don't know how to broach this, but we normally say don't come to places like this. It's not fair. You've got to get in touch with them first, like we did.
But we can't. You just kind of do.
That's what we do. But this guy is very keen for you to get in touch if you can help. He's got a lot of projects. He owns a lot of the land up that way. He's often doing clearing. They want to do some different projects on the aqueduct itself, obviously with permission from the council because it's Grade 2 listed, but he's after help and advice. So I'm going to put his email address in below as he requested. Used to be a London Underground tube driver, fascinating guy, and he wants help with advice, bits and pieces on how to approach things and how to do things.
How can you do it right?
So if you're an environmentalist and you know how to look after the wildlife side of things, if you know what type of pointing needs doing that would fall in line with a Grade 2 listed building, all those kind of questions, get in touch with them on an email. Lovely chap, lovely couple. So big thanks to Andrew and Elizabeth. Okay, forgive the interruption. It's now 12 and a half minutes into the video, and I'm sat thinking to myself as I edit, there's loads more to come yet. It's going to be like a half an hour long video.
More, yeah.
Yeah, so we're kind of thinking actually we will, we're going to split this into two. We think we've got enough in this little video to make it nice and punchy and short. Next week, there's a heck of a lot more as well. So a rare occasion is part 1 and part 2. Make sure you're subscribed because there's a lot more of the story to come yet about the people that built the canal and they navigated it, the fossils, the locks, all sorts to come next week. So make sure you're subscribed, click on the notification bell, and we shall join you next week. Look at that, and look at the tunnel. There's an actual tunnel.
Let's go home.
Let's go home.
Let's go home.
Done?
Done.
Let's go
It's
home.
a wrap.